You ought to lift your hands and say, oh, 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 there's nobody like you, Lord. There's nobody like you. When I can't see my way, oh, 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 oh. There's nobody, nobody. There's nobody like you. There's nobody like you, Lord. No. Oh, oh, nobody like you. Can't nobody hold me like you, Jesus. Can't nobody move me like you, Jesus. Oh, there's nobody like you. There's nobody like you, Jesus. Can't nobody save me like you, Jesus. Can't nobody heal me like you, Jesus. Can't nobody take away my pain like you, Jesus. Can't nobody love me like you, Jesus. Oh, for your goodness and your mercy toward us. We offer praise. If you know he's been good to you, if you know he's kept from you what you deserve, it ought to cause you to lift your voice in praise to him. Matter of fact, if I just ask the question, how many of you know he's been good to you? How many of you know that he's kept from you what you really deserve? If you're connected to him, it ought not be not one hand that's not lifted. Don't do it on my behalf. But when you know he's been good to you, when you know he's kept you, when you know that when you didn't love yourself, that ought to cause you to lift your hands. when you get home, I dare not stop what God is doing. When you get home, I want you to read the 4th chapter in the book of Malachi. I want you to look at that because it's in the first 3 verses. You're going to see there are 4 words in there that I really want you to focus on. And they're simply, the sun shall rise. I want you to see that because it's significant. Because remember, the children of Israel have been letting God down. They've been dishonoring him. They have been disrespecting him. In those first 3 chapters, Malachi has talked about how all of those things have caused them to separate themselves from God. He talks about how through their giving, through their offerings, they had stopped honoring and giving God their best. But what you've got to understand, Malachi is writing to what's called a post-exilic people. Here were people that were struggling. Here were people that were, some of them were doing the right thing and they were honoring God, but yet it appeared as if those around them that were dishonoring God, it appeared as if life was good for them. It appeared that those that were totally disrespecting God, it appeared to those that were doing the right thing, that they were struggling, that they were, I'm trying to do right, but look like I can't get up, look like I can't move forward. But here are those that are disrespecting God. They're prospering. They're the ones that look as if they're making it in life. But Malachi says, there's going to come a day. There's going to come a day when the God of love, the God of peace, is going to be the same God, but he's going to step into the role of judge. There's going to come a day when he's going to judge all of the evildoers, all of those who have done him wrong, all of those who have let him down. He said there's going to come a day when I'm going to pour my wrath upon you. There's going to come a day when those who have been doing the right thing, there's going to come a day when you see me in my glory, that I'm going to right every wrong. I'm going to punish every evildoer. And I need y'all to see this, because somebody came today. Because remember, I told you, this book of Malachi is well worth those of us in this 21st century. It's worth us reading. Because guess what? Like many of the righteous within the children of Israel that were doing right, there's some of us that are tired of struggling. There are some of us who wonder if our situation is ever going to get any better. There are some of us who are wondering, am I going to be in the hell that I'm in the rest of my life? I'm looking at those who are dishonoring God, and I'm looking at them, and it appears as if, like Asaph said, they're prospering, they're They're on top of the world, and here I am doing the right thing. Here I am serving God. Here I am trying to carry out his mission, but yet I'm struggling. God told me to tell somebody, there's going to come a day when you ain't got to struggle no more. There's going to come a day when those that appear to be prospering, he said they're going to burn like fire. They're going to be like stubble. And you know, when you put stubble in fire, hay in a fire, it totally consumes it. There's going to be a day when God is going to come in judgment, and he's going to judge his people. And I want you to know something. That day, those that appear to be prospering, they're going to be annihilated. That means they're totally going to be wiped out. And I'm not just talking about ceasing to exist, but I'm talking about it's going to be as if they never, ever existed. God told me to tell somebody, I know it looks different. I know that you are going through what you're going through, but trouble ain't going to last always. Somebody in here needs to hear this. That child that you're struggling with, that person that you ain't got along with, that person that appears to be unlovable, y'all, there's gonna come a day when those of us who are righteous, those of us who have done the right thing, y'all, there's gonna come a day when God is going to separate the right from the wrong. And I need y'all to hear this. That day is certain. That means it's coming. I don't care what you do. That day is coming. But understand something. It's not just certain, but it's comprehensive. Every evildoer. That's what the book said. Every person who fails to accept the gospel message, they're going to be consumed in fire. Y'all need to see this. Because for those that saved, those who are doing the right thing. Now understand something. I ain't saying you're going to always be perfect. You ain't none of us perfect. But there's going to come a day when God is going to come in judgment. And he's going to be the one. I don't care how folk do you today. Ain't no sense in you trying to get back with you to your enemies. Ain't no sense in you trying to do God's work. Guess what, baby? One of these days, every person that does not accept Jesus, they're going to be annihilated. But then y'all need to see this. Those of us that did the right thing, those of us who accepted the gospel message, we're going to be exonerated. Meaning there's going to come a day when you can stand before the judgment seat. And because you've accepted the message of the cross, you ain't lived a good life, a perfect life. You ain't done everything right. But there's going to come a day when he separates the good from the bad, the ugly from the pretty. There's going to come a day when you're going to be able to smile. Because all of your bad days are gone. There's going to come a day Y'all think we shout in here? There's going to come a day when you get really excited, because if you notice in those first few verses, he uses the illustration of a calf and it's running around. It's going to be like a calf that has been held in a pen, and on that day it's going to be let out the pen. It's going to be running around because he's excited to have freedom. Baby, there's going to come a day when those of us who are saved are going to have that glorious day. You think you have a good time now? There's going to come a day that the old songwriter said, when all of God's children get together. Oh, what a time. Because I need you to understand something before I go any further. When he talks about the sun shall rise, he's not talking about the sun rising in the east. But the sun shall rise is significant with the day that Jesus comes back and declares himself King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Y'all, there's going to come a day when you talk about shouting. There's going to come a day we going to really shout. But y'all need to see this, because one day the text said that the righteous are going to trample down the wicked, who will be like ashes under the feet of the righteous. Y'all, God says, on that day that I act, on that day that when my son comes to take his reign as King of Kings, he said, I'm going to right every wrong and I'm going to remove the wicked. Y'all understand something? I know life is a struggle now. I know it appears that you can't make it. I know it seems as if life is hard. But can I tell you, there will come a day that God, through his son Jesus, is going to make a formal judgment. And he's going to separate the right from the wrong. And y'all, I thought about this as yesterday I thought about, that was an old song that the Sensational Nightingales, if you're a little older, you know what the song is. One day, there's going to be a meeting around the throne. And I don't know about you, but I'm like the song. The song said, I want to be at the meeting. I want to be at the meeting when all the saints get home after separating the right from the wrong. I want to be at the meeting around the throne. And I don't know about you, but somebody gonna be at that meeting. I don't know about you. I want to be at the meeting. When I take off when I unbuckle my sword that's on my side and stick it in the sands of time, I'm going to talk with the Father. I'm going to talk with the Son. I'm going to tell him about this whole world that I've come from. But I'm going to be at the meeting around the throne. And I don't know about you, but when I get to glory, because guess what? If you're saved, you're going to be around the throne. If you're saved, you're going to be at the meeting. And I got one question. Anybody going to be at the meeting? I really want to know that. If you're going to be at the meeting, you think you had a good time down here, wait till you get in glory. Wait till you get around the throne when you're going to go see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Nehemiah and Noah and all of the prophets. But I don't know about you. Somebody got a mama over there. Somebody got a father over there. Somebody got a sister or brother over there. Somebody had an auntie or a cousin over there. But I don't know about you. When I get there, yes, I want to see grandma. I want to see papa. I want to see my loved ones. But most of all, Nicky, I want to see Jesus. There's going to be a day that the sun will rise. There's going to be a day when God is going to separate the right from the wrong. So guess what, y'all? Go ahead and go through the struggle. I know it's rough. Go ahead and deal with the pains, because I know life causes some pains. I'm looking at some folk who've dealt with some issues in their lives. But can I tell you, it won't last always. I came by this morning to tell you, if you hold on a little while, the Bible declares that no man knows the day nor the hour when the Son of Man will appear. But it goes on to say that he's coming like a thief in the night, meaning you need to prepare yourself. And the question is, how do I prepare myself? If you believe in the cross, if you believe that Jesus died, if you believe that Jesus went in the tomb, if you believe that Jesus rose from the grave, can I tell you, then you're going to be at the meeting when all of the saints get home. And I don't know about you, but I'm waiting on that day when I can see my Jesus. I'm waiting on that day. And the question is, have you made preparations? Have you made the ultimate sacrifice of giving up you to follow him? I want y'all to read that when you get home, because he lets us know there's going to be a day that the sun will rise. I close by telling you there's a story of a young man who had been convicted of several DUIs. His father was an attorney, and every time his son got in trouble, his daddy always came to his rescue. He always did something to get him off. Well, his father was running for county judge, and on one particular occasion, this young man had been driving drunk, and he hit a pedestrian and killed the pedestrian. After doing this, he fled the state and ran away and hid out. His father kept trying to call him and tell him, son, come back so I can represent you. Son, come back so I can represent you. But those calls fell on deaf ears. And finally, one day, the son made the decision, I'm going to go and see my daddy. But the problem was, when he came back and turned himself in, the father was no longer an attorney, but he was a judge. The father told his son, he said, son, I tried to help you, but now if you're convicted, I'm going to throw the book at you, because I'm no longer an attorney, but now I'm a judge. The whole point of that story is God is the ultimate judge. And can I tell you, when you don't accept his son Jesus, his full wrath is going to come upon you. Matter of fact, on that day, John said in John 21, he said, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. He said the old earth was passed away. Then he said, but I, John, saw a new city coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned before her husband. Then it goes on to talk about how he says, your people will be my people and my God will be your God. It goes on. And then it goes into that that part where we always quote him. The land of no more. There won't be any more crying and no more pain, no more weeping. And I know we try to use that passage in light of when we get to heaven, that there just won't be any tears in heaven. There's a reason why there's tears that John talked about. The reason why they're crying is because those of us that are righteous, we're going to see those who have not accepted Jesus as their personal Savior. We're going to see God's wrath come upon them. And watch this, the reason why you're going to be crying is because it's going to be some of your cousins, some of your loved ones, some of your friends, some of those who are close to you. And so when that judgment day comes and they're cast into the pit of fire, you're going to be crying because you wanted them to be saved. But once they're all in the fire, you're going to be in the land of no more. Because at that point, there won't be any pain. There won't be any more crying. And my question to you is, have you made preparations? Have you given your life to Jesus? You know, that's what it's about. It's about you giving your life to Christ. Oh yeah, those of us who are saved, yeah, we're going to be judged. But it's going to be based on our works. Your salvation is intact. But it's going to be, you're going to be judged based on your works. And if you've done everything within your calling, everything that you've been called to do, you won't lose your salvation. But there are some rewards that you'll lose. And I don't know about you. Yeah. I want everything he has for me. I want my, like my old pastor used to say, I want my mansion. That's why every day we're sending up our timber, because we're working on that day. And I want everybody in here, I want you standing as we extend this invitation. I know somebody saying, well, Pastor, I wanted something different. You need to know if you are right with God. You need to know if your relationship with him is intact. If you've never accepted him, if you've never been baptized, can I tell you your relationship is not intact? If you want a relationship with him, you got to be saved. And simply you believing in the redemptive act of Jesus on the cross. If you believe that today, and you've never been saved, you've never been baptized, right where you are, I want you to ask him to come into your life. Just tell him, God, I've sinned. Forgive me. I believe that you lived, you died, you were buried, and rose again. I'm confessing you as my Savior. If you prayed that prayer and you know you're not saved, but now we believe that Jesus is now in your life, I want you to just step out, walk down the aisle. Somebody will meet you. Maybe you're here today. You got a relationship with him, but you're out of fellowship. Don't have a church home. You want to get back into fellowship with him. You want to make this your place of worship. This invitation is extended to you. Maybe you're here today already saved, already in fellowship, but yet you're one of those that's going through some things, and you just need somebody to intercede on your behalf, want to pray with you. That's why we're here today. Our ministers, our deacons are in the aisles to pray with you right where you are. You don't have to tell them what's going on because God knows. And they just want to pray with you. This invitation is extended. We don't invite you to a church, but we invite you to a relationship with Jesus Christ. Can you step out right now on faith? We offer Christ to you right now. He's the answer to every situation, every hardship, every pain. It does not matter. You just come to Christ right now. We offer Christ to you. Oh, my brother. We offer Christ. Oh, my sister. He will give you new life. More. Oh, come on to Christ. We offer Christ to you. Oh, my brother. We offer Christ. Oh, my sister. He will give you new life. More. Oh, come. Come on. Come. You are weary. Yeah. Come on. Come. You who are weary. Come on. Come. You are weary. Come on to Christ. To Christ. Oh, to Christ. To Christ.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Pisca. We have our own who are coming this morning for prayer.
Man. Okay. I want to ask all of you to just come Come on, y'all.